guys? Welcome back to GT Sport SA Season 3 Race 2. Yeah, in Pool 6, this is where I was at the time. Now, I have to tell you guys, I am recording this video about 3 weeks after the tournament took place, and I haven't actually looked at the replay for this event. Now, the Brands Hatch was the circuit that we rode at, and we had to use the M3 BMW Sport 89. You know, those old little box-shaped cars that we see on the road every now and then. Those are the ones we had to use for this race, and it actually made it very exciting. We had to use the sport soft tires, which obviously can get very slippery here and there. But yeah, it turned out to be quite an exciting race. Now, before I kick off, I must say I'm very, like you guys know, I'm new to GT Sport, so I'm just learning about the things like all the time. And when I started the season, I was under the impression that I was going to stay in Pool 6 like all the time. Like, I thought I was going to be in Pool 6, and you know, that's just how the system works. Like, you qualified in Pool 6, 5, 4, whatever, and you stay in there. It turns out that if you win the race, if you finish in the podium positions, top 3, in your pool, you get promoted to the pool above you, and likewise, if you finish in those bottom 3 positions, you get demoted to be the pool below you. So from the last race, you guys will recall, or race 1, you'll call that KBR Scorpion, KBR Valentino, and Excalibur finished in those podium positions in race 1. They subsequently got promoted, and the guys who came down from pool 5 was V8 Yag, Kenny Quobson, and GTRSA. Subsequently, there needed to be guys coming up from Pool 7. The guys who've gone down was Right Eye Score 666, Trivs, and Sloth ZA82. Subsequently, Moray Razak, Googly 89, and GTA SA Milton, they came up into Pool 6. Now, it was just like, wow, I mean, we got some new faces here. What's it gonna be like? You know, it's gonna make the season exciting as time goes on. It's something new that I've learned, so I was so happy that I was so excited to see that, you know, something like this is happening. And yeah, it's surely gonna make it interesting. So that being said, dude, let's just jump into the race. I'm talking a lot of cack here now. Let's just dig into it, bro. Yes, so now I must admit, I haven't watched, I think I mentioned this before, I haven't watched this video back. It's been 3 weeks later that I'm looking at it now, and it hasn't been good memories for me for this race from what I could remember from it. So anyway, let's just dig into it now and see what the Oaks are like. So while it's loading up quickly, I took a look at the guys who came down, and GT RSA, Kenny Quobson and V8 Yag, they actually never raced in Pool 5 in the first race, and subsequently they were demoted just because for non-participation. So I didn't know what to expect, but you know, things, let's see how the race pans out and see what actually happened to those guys over there. So I'm going to start off with GT RSA. He qualified first. And yeah, man, this guy just seemed to show why he was in Pool 5 to start off with. Really had a strong start here. Went for the black livery, you know, a nice plain black livery, you know. And yeah, that was that's pretty much what maybe a theme for his driving, just straightforward, getting to business, dude, no cucking around. Anyway, now these Brands Hatches around the corner, he's driving with the automatic, which honestly for me, I have driven automatic before. I've actually switched over to manual probably in about the last 2 months, and driving manual I can't actually go back. So I don't know how the guys, especially at these levels, I mean, I mean, these guys are quite good drivers still driving on automatic. I don't know if they just prefer it or if they find a way to you know, because I often struggle managing my fuel on automatic, but I think there's some settings you can put in there. These guys still manage to keep it going strong with automatic. So anyway, kicked off for GTA RSA in the first lap. You can see that there's a bit of a gap pulling there. Sailor Man 57. Now, if you guys recall, Sailor Man finished, I think, he finished 12th position in the previous race, just managed to miss those relegation places. And dude, this race was like a completely different one. Like the guy was just up in those pole positions and putting strong races together for this one. Sailorman doing his best lap here, keeping Moreira Zak, another new guy, in addition to GTS Milton coming up, and they play fighting for that 4th position. Really good race. Monza Boy, again one of my favorites for this pool, rocking that Punisher livery, very similar one to what he rode with in race 1. Really looks dope. Again, got that hazards on, bro. Not sure if this is just a Monza Boy thing or if that's a mistake, but we'll sure to see those lights flicker throughout most of the race. Pulls in a 56 on that sector. Not bad racing at this point. Slight gap pulling away from Monza Boy and GTA SA Milton, and really got you thinking about what those guys have done initially to put themselves in pool 7. You know, must have had a little bit of trouble on that seeding race initially. Monza Boy followed by Lunatic. I think he's also a newcomer, like I mentioned in race 1. Again, I don't know much of the guys, but Lunatic always has a solid race. Bang in the middle here, followed by Scorpio. The Scorpio also had a solid race in race 1. Finished, I think, 4th. You know, KBR guys were just a little bit too fast for him. But let's take a look at Scorpio still as the race develops. I think we'll see an interesting finishing position from him there, rocking that yellow livery, looking really cool. He rocks a 55 here. I think the going rate on this lap was about 55, 54. Yeah, so any times around there, I think you'll find his decent times. Yeah, in this race, I mean, it was so easy to fall out of the pack, in this race. You only had 14 laps, and which meant that in a 55-minute period, the race will take about 13 minutes to finish. 55-second period, sorry. So you really had to be clean in your racing. Your mistakes were costly. And there we go, Scorpio taking us for just running a bit wide on that corner. I'm surprised he didn't get a penalty for that though. That looked, oh, he did. Oh, unlucky there. Monza probably saw that one coming, and Scorpio unlucky, I had to take it in. Monza Boy dropping a little bit off the pace here, but we'll revisit these lot again. Further back we had Trip and Lee racing. Now Trip again, solid racer from race number 1 that we saw him in, so always gonna be solid. I think Trip probably takes a while to get into the race. Generally has a little bit of a slower qualifying time compared to the other guys, but as the race goes on, Trip tends to get stronger at the race. And just something I noticed from Trip from watching him race in the few races that I've seen him in. Now Trip's also, you'll notice in all his races he rocks the South African livery and really makes it stand out of the crowd, bro. But we take a look at Trip again in this 8th position. Let's see how he finishes this lap off, running 58, 51, 52. Let's see if he can cross that line before the 50-mile marker. Slightly over, but again in there about. Googly also driving with hazards. Googly, remember, came up from season 1. Oh, and just ran a bit too wide there. I think me and Lee was closely after him, coming past. Me and Lee were riding with a very similar livery, so I just thought I'll rock the ones with the white, the white, whatever you call that fend in front of the thing there. Jeez, don't even know. But I thought I rode the white one. He rode the black one, so yeah. Now recall again Lee from race 1. Also had a few mistakes in race 1, but just managed to recover from it. We rode with the GR2 cars back then, and you could see it. Lee was on a different level with those GR2 cars. He put up the fastest lap time in race 1, so he was always someone to look out for. Finishing this lap off on a 56. But yeah, I think in this particular race, probably the slower car didn't really suit him, and is in the bottom half of the pecking order. But yeah, as we know, he is a strong driver, so it is what it is. I followed shortly after Lee. Now, like I said, like it's similar in the first race, me and Lee were always at it at different parts of the race. So, ooh, what happened to Lee there? Just, oh, weird. See that now? The game doing its funny thing again here. But I just thought, you know, let me just stay close and not make too much mistakes. I did have a bad qualifying. I was actually away from my my controller during the time of qualifying. And when I managed to get, there was about 2 minutes left. The first lap that I did was obviously a you know, out lap. I couldn't get much speed, and then the second lap there was an accident in front of me, and I just drove into the guy there, and that probably that put me right at the bottom of the grid, and I couldn't really finish that lap. So a little bit unlucky, but at the same time, I don't think I would have really kept up with the guys in the front runners. This was such a tricky race to actually get those pace down, and you can definitely see a clear gap between different sectors, groups of the race. Now Miss Vining here, rocking this pink livery. Again, like I said, dude, again, I'm still learning the guys here. I still don't know if Mrs. Vining is a he or a she. Maybe they're playing with someone's gamer tag. I think it's actually a she. I think Miss Vining is a she, so please excuse me if I get you guys wrong. But Miss Vining always having a solid race, even we saw from race 1 and races to follow. So I think it's a she. Sorry, Miss Vining, if I do call you she and you're actually a he, please excuse me for that, but I will be calling you she going forward, so hopefully that's okay until I get more clarity. That's what I'll be redoing, so really apologies for that. Yeah, but just something about those BMWs. This is lap 9. I mean, if you look at the wear of the tires, right, you can definitely manage this car in this 14 laps. Prior to coming into the race, I did think that we're going to be having to watch those tires quite a bit, but it appeared not to be so, and it actually made the race quite enjoyable. Shortly behind was Googly. Now Googly, recall, he came up from pool 7, and honestly, watching this particular race, I was under the impression that Googly probably was punching a little bit above his weight, but damn was I wrong. Just take a look at the videos for race 3 and race 4 that's yet to come. You'll see that Googly is actually a super racer. I think he probably, the slower car didn't suit him in this round. Could have been a arrive and drive situation as well. Maybe not much practice before this, but yeah, Googly is indeed actually a top racer. So going back to the start of the pack again, GTR SA. Check this guy out. Check the gap. I don't know. Just stayed in the zone. Just had such a good drive. Managing those corners while keeping it consistent. You can see on the 55s. Lap number 10, put up a 56, slightly a low 56. Still relatively decent. I mean, not too bad on the 10th lap of a 14 lap race. And yeah, man, he's just managed to pull away from start to finish. Flawless drive coming through, and I think he can be really proud about this race. Below that, Sailorman still in that second position 10 laps later. Moreira Zak driving for team pace. Oh, I didn't see that. Saw that now over there. So yeah, surely if you're driving for those teams, you've got to be a good racer. So I must have sort of just you know, probably had 1 or 2 laps in the seeding race and decided to let it go. But yeah, Moreira Zak, you know, you can clearly see this guy is a racer of note. Lunatic coming past GTS Milton. He was stuck behind Monza Boy earlier, so strong drive to come in 4th position at this point of the race. GTS Milton followed Scorpio. Just keep an eye on him. I think he gets promoted in this race, so yeah, I want to see how he pulls this one out of the bag. Monza Boy still got those hazards on there, riding with his knife livery, following Scorpio down these turns, and yeah, man, like, I mean, I think I mean, normally for me, like a second gap isn't too much, but in this 500, sorry, these BMW BMWs, I think it's in 500s. Yeah, it really makes such a big difference if you're that second behind. Let's watch the race here for second place. Sailorman didn't take this corner as well. Moreira Zak. I mean, that corner there, that particular one, you can really whack it down that curve. If you get it right, it's so beautiful. If you get it wrong, it's like you run into that dust, and it's just like there goes a good 2 seconds of your lap. Nice little battle going on there. Now Monza at this point, these three at the back managed to pull into their own little battle, but in typical Monza boy style, he's always going to finish in that top half of the race. Putting up his best lap at this time, really coming to the race slightly late, really pushing it through. Nice driving. GTS Milton having a decent race here, pulling into 6th position, and Scorpio dropped a bit here. I think it's weird because I saw GTS Milton drive a bit wide in the previous lap, but sometimes if you're trailing behind a driver and he makes a mistake, you tend to follow that driver. So if the guy in front of you makes a bit of a mistake, it can always happen that you sort of slip up a bit, and that's, I think, what's happened between these two over here. But again, also consistent in the 55s. He had a bit of a 57 in lap 13, but not too bad. Let's go back to the front runners and see how things are going here. Staying relatively stable. Sailorman 57, Lunatic in 3rd. Moreira Zak, excellent driving for someone who's come up from pool 7. Monza Boy follows shortly after. GTS Milton. Scorpio at 7th. Just had that issue there on lap 13. May have caused the issue. Trip coming in 8th. Yay, coming towards the flag. I followed afterwards. And Lee Racing comes in there. Was fighting. Unfortunate for that first couple of laps. The gap was just a bit too far to recover. And Googly, again, like I think Googly was in a drive and drive situation. So coming towards the end of the race and just finishing it there in 12th position. But anyway, that was race number 1 in this, and we still got race number 2 to go. Okay, cool. I'll see you guys for race number 2 shortly. Hi guys. Yeah, welcome back. Yeah, man, I took a little bit of a break before I decided to step into race 2. So what before I jump in there, just to give a bit of a background, with this particular race 2, what we had to do is we had to ride 2 heats in this brand hatch circuit. Yeah, and what they would do is they would take the combined score of the race, and then whatever the result was from that, use it as your score. So without further ado, let's jump into the second race. Now while this loads up, I must say something interesting from race 1 is that I actually got called in by the stewards for a potential penalty, and yeah, I wasn't really shocked about it. I just thought, like, let me see, I'm new here, I'm not sure what's going on, and they called me into the group telling me that I ran into a penalty. I never burnt that particular penalty off in before the first lap. Genuinely, I thought that I wasn't really going to have. Genuinely, I thought that I wasn't in the mistake, because when I read the rules, one of the rules mentioned that I need to burn it off before the first of the next lap. Turned out that I had to burn it off before the start of the new lap. So that was something a bit shocked to me. What I did then is I went back to the admins and told them, look guys, no problem if you decide to give me the penalty, that's all good. But this is the rules that I saw. But like I said, again, if you guys decide to give me the penalty, it's all good, bro. I'm new here. I'm not sure how to follow it, so I'll definitely follow it going forward. And after listening to it, took about 5-10 minutes, and the guys invited me back into the admins group saying, you know what, Jam, all good. You read the rules from what your understanding was, and you followed it, so they decided to wipe the penalty off. So I got a bit away there, but genuinely didn't know about that rule. So thanks so much to the admins eventually for wiping that one out. And definitely guys, if you're new to this, listening to this, make sure you check those rules out and especially when it comes to penalties, because you get a 30-second, I think it's 30-second, could be a minute and 30 seconds or 30, I think it's a 30-second penalty, you know, if you break those rules, so just be very careful. But anyway, less of the chit chat, let's dive into race number, well, heat 2 for race number 2. And this time I'll try to comment a lot more on the actual race opposed to that kakbrat that I had in the first one. So I'm going to kick it off again with the main guy, GTR. Again, for this particular race, we had that 2 heats, and what they wanted to do is your qualifying time for the second heat depended on where you finished in race number, in the first heat, you know. So again, GTA RSA pulled off strong. Now at this point in time, we're hoping that I'm sort of holding GT as a bit more of a competitive race, considering most of the guys know this lap. But as you see, even in this first turn, there's already a bit of a gap opening up here, and that theory initially didn't turn through. Oof. Now after this though, the pull started to come, and Lunatic putting a little bit of gap from the pack, and this first start really had everybody scrambling. I wasn't even in the mix here. Sailorman just at the tip of where the things start. Maurezak followed closely by Monza Boy, GTS and Milton. I was even in the mix with Scorpio, so really battling at this point. Lee, as ever, is going to be close by, but you can see people were into the race at this point in time, and people knew the course, so things were going to get tight. So I'm going to keep my close eye on position 2 all the way up until till the closer positions, and just see how the race unfolds, because I think it gets very interesting. Moreiras are going a bit corner, try to keep that distance away from Sailor Man, just to drive a bit clean, but really does it well, and kudos to Sailor Man as well for keeping his difference, allowing him to come in side by side in corner 4 on the second lap. Monza Boy looking to take advantage. GTS Milton followed shortly behind. You can see the back crunching up there, and Googly just coming side by side a bit with Trip, and the race was on at this point in these packs. Ooh, 4-way down here, me and Scorpio really pushing at it. Oh, there's Lee Racing, sorry. I pulled a little bit away from that pack, but Lee and Scorpio going at it, and as you know, Lee not afraid to get those elbows out, pulls a bit wide there, you know. I thought he could stab in a bit longer, you know, but at the same point, you want to be competitive, but also try and drive clean. Trip pushing the guys here now. Trip is always going to keep consistency going, and I slowly managed to pull myself towards this pack in front, getting closer to GTSA Milton. Let's see what happens at the front. Monza Boy, Sailor Man, and Moda Suck starting to form our own little pack here. Lunatic really in the zone at this point in time, thinks he can join up to the little bit of light flickering here for Mo. I just thought he'll throw Lunatic off. Kudos for coming into that second position. Wow, third position, sorry. Thought Sailor Man had it. The man with the pace on the side of the door, really showing where that name comes from. And Sailor Man, this is his race though. This is Sailor Man's, area here, dude. Again, like I thought from race 1, Sailor Man's gonna be slightly maybe a little bit of a slower driver, I thought initially, but geez, the races to follow, you can see this guy can drive, though. Slight gap pulling out now. Monza Boy slowly after. Sailor Bad Boy in 5th position, coming around this, I think this is 3rd corner. I was closely behind these guys, and I thought, okay, let me keep up with the pace here, but doing my best lap, with best sector in the first sector. Coming around this corner 5 over here. Now it's a very strange corner, this one over here. You can really push at it, and you run wide in that corner. Firstly, you don't get a penalty if you run over the curve there, and secondly, if you do manage to hit the grass in that corner, you don't really lose much time. So it's a very strange one. Coming off on the finish of lap number 4, a bit of a tussle going on here between Mo and Sailor Man. Sailor Man getting his position back. The two fighting here, a little bit side to side, but keeping it space. Braking late there. Mo takes this position. Come on, Sailor Man, push him. Really good racing in the second race, I must say. The second race was really interesting now that the guy's eyes were in. Running a bit wide there, Mo, and this could be opportunity for Sailor, who comes on the inside line. Slightly short. we'll visit that one again. Now me and my low-key nemesis, the Monza boy. He probably don't know anything about me, but this is actually always the guy I want to try and beat in the races. So I was in a bit of a battle with Monza, and the push that we gave ourselves, it was quite nice because we managed to the push we gave us really kept us with that top pack, with the Sailor Boy and Mo. So it was a nice little competitive battle. I think I stayed behind him in 6 for some time, but yeah, nice good driving at this point, and I'm just keeping in touch with the pack in front. I did have quite a bit of practices before this, and I felt confident going into the race, but of course, try and change your stars too much time, reach out a bit too far, and you're gonna be falling. So I was surprised at this point to keep up with the top half of the pack, but I did feel like a bit confident about this race, and you can pretty much see that when you come into this 6 laps, still managed to keeping up with the big boys. Further behind, the gap developing here, and a little bit of its own little battle going down here. Scorps versus Lee Racing. Now I did mention in heat 1 that I think Scorpion pulled out here. I don't think I was right. I think Scorps actually, you can take a look at race 3. I think race 3 is when he pulls into pool 5. But yeah, a nice little pack developing here with Lee Racing, Scorpio, GTSA, Milton, and Trip. Jeez, now this was lap 7, and you can see there is distinct packs in the race. Googly again trailing a little bit behind, like I talked about in heat 1. He's actually a strong driver, so this must have just been a arrive and drive. Wasn't very comfortable in this race, but yeah, GTA. We didn't see much of you in this race, bro, but it is clear that you're well above the level. I think he was maybe anger driving a bit. He got demoted from pool 5. Surely it's gonna stir up a bit of, stir up a bit, coming to the next race. Moreira's like pulling away from this pack here. The fight with Sailor had to throw in the towel here a little bit to give him that gap. And we're trying to see these guys claw it a bit back, but good driving from Moreira to pull away from this pack. It is can be quite intimidating and nerve-wracking, staying ahead of a pack, and if you do manage to pull away and still keep your calm, really hats off to you, Mo. The Monza boy trying to find a way around Sailor Man, and I think I managed to come on the inside, change the stars a bit here, took him nicely, I felt, and at this point in time, nerves started to kick in. And oh man, I will take a look at this again, how I managed to struggle here, but the times looked okay at this point in time. I was doing low 56s. Monza boy was also in about the mid 56s, obviously going to a high low 57. Oh, and there was the first mistake. Jeez, yeah, now at this point in time I hit that dust, and geez, the positions just fell to drop. Scorpio came past me here at this point, and I fell into this pack here with Lee, Scorpio, GTSA, and Trip. And yeah, I think that was really the end of my race. Let's just visit that pack above again. Lunatic still in position number 2. GT, such a gap between the two. I mean, GT just no comparison in this race. Excellent driving by Lunatic, really, even in the first heat. Strong finish. So yeah, really good driving here. Now Mo again pulling away from the pack. Sailor Man as well. Myself and Monza had a bit of an issue in that at the turn there. I think I slowly moved it down there. I think when I went wide there, so there was a gap pulling out. But yeah, man, Sailor Man number 4 here, position number 4 here. Second in this little pack here. Second in this little pack. So I guess I'm not that wrong. And there's that wide run I was talking about earlier. You can really push it in that corner, not get the penalty, and still not lose that much time there. But really good drive. at this point in time, and it looks like the gap split between these three. So not much going on there. The hazards is off here on Monza boy. I think he knows where his position is going to be at in this race. So yeah, let's take a look at this pack again later. Scorpio, I was really upset at this point in time, thinking like, yo, I cannot believe I fell down this, punching with the big boys earlier to fall further behind. But I still felt okay. I mean, I was finishing in that top half, which I always kind of try and target for. So yeah, still feeling okay at this point. But as you can see, I dropped further behind. Trip here, and I just wasn't a race, remember. Let's take a look at as he battles with GTS Bolton. Comes around turn number 7. That turn I normally hit at gear number 3, downshift here, and then come around the corner. Raving high on this car. Don't have to worry about fuel, don't have to worry about tires really that much. So you can really put your foot down and dive into this race. 56.1, not bad. GTS and Milton falling closely behind him. He wants to get into that top half. One of the guys that came back up. Trip, oof, I mean, I just had a bad race and just such frustratingness from here. Trip again, showing that consistency. You can see the gap between me and him, considering I dropped down into that second position. Into this second group from the back, if I want to call it that. But yeah, Trip just showing, check that gap, dude. I'm so far behind. But let's see what Trip can do in this last 2 laps. If he can push a little bit closer to that pack ahead of him. Now the SA livery does look really dope. Jeez, you know, this this dash cam really shows you that old school look for the 89 M3 BMW. And Mrs. Vining again in 11th position. It's difficult to sort of pull your way up into the higher positions once you have a lower qualifying position with these N500 cars. So still they're very consistent with the driving. And Googly, same story. Very difficult to pull yourself into higher packs once you started. And that's me over there. I think I put the Red Bull helmet on this time, and I think that's what gave me some of the unluck. So only got myself to blame. Googly running a bit wide. But let's take a look at GT Milton. He's on his final lap, coming into, I think this is turn number 3, yeah? Turn number 4, that high one. The cool thing about that little corner is that that corner actually hugs you a bit, hugs between the tires, and you can really feel your car still keeping onto the road as you come on the hill. Lunatic just taking it easier now. Now he's got his position locked up. Another solid race for the man in orange. Oh, Monza boy, what happened there? Whoa, Monza boy pulling in 3rd. Not bad. Something must have happened here with Sailor Man that I've missed. But wow, nice driving there from the, and also good driving from Sailor Man. Really to finish, I think finished last in race number 1. Very good finish to come in 4th position, strong in both heats. So really good drive. Scorpio follows through after race, re-racing. Mo fell quite far back, probably had a bit of accident there. Trip, and yeah, I thought I'll flicker the lights towards the end. 10th position, I'll take it. And it's Vining, tailing a bit behind. Googly coming towards the end. Geez, 1989. Geez, there was a time when 1989 used to be young for me. Now we old topies, bro. You're like what's that, like 33 years, 32 years old topies now, bro. Anyway, that's the race, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I certainly did. And maybe I'll get back to race number 3 soon after this one. But yeah, let's take a look at it then, and all the best, guys.